All right, let's see here. All right, so this lab, I'm going to be setting up Windows domain. My list of servers. DC01, RODC01. We'll do a desktop as well. And actually do our firewall too. This one I'm going to be using pfSense, so let's enable that or renumber these. All right, I think that's going to get things started. So let's pull up, I use VMware Workstation here. We'll build some VMs. First one we'll do the firewall. Let's see. So pfSense uses FreeBSD, so I want to make sure that that's what we're selecting here. That should work. Give it a couple cores. We'll do a gig of memory on this. And I'm going to use host-only networking on this. Stick to the defaults. Create new virtual disk. I like to store these as a single file. 20 gig is fine. It's thin provision, so it's not going to take up 20 gig. All right, looks good. I'll drop that in this one. All right, so let's power this on. Close that. And let's see here. Need to select the ISO. Where am I here? All right. Go to settings. Use ISO. Browse here. There we go. All right, we'll go with 2.44. I think 2.45 is the most recent, but we'll roll with that. All right. And then we're going to send control delete, and it should come up loading it. Yeah, so we'll set up the firewall here first. So I've got, we'll pull up the list here. So the DC01, the RODC01, and then the desktop. We're going to do 3 different zones for these, and we'll have the default gateway for each one of these zones or these networks. We'll have it terminate on this firewall so we can create policy to protect the environment. I'll show you how to set up the proper security between these two. Actually, we should probably do a member server as well. So let me add one of these in here. What should I name it? Let's do a file server. That'll be a good one to. We'll mark the OS here. All right, so we'll do Windows Server 2019 for all those, and then and Windows 10 for the desktop. And this was 244, so we'll go with that. All right, so let's go through the install here. Actually, I want to grab screenshots because I want to do some documentation as well. I'm going to keep that on a different screen so you won't be able to see that, but if you follow along, you get to see the actual device. All right, so we'll accept. All right. And if you haven't used VMware Workstation before, hitting Control-Alt gets you out of the screen once you're clicked in it. All right, so we'll hit enter and select default there. All right, so we're kicking off the install here. It'll take just a few minutes. All right, so we are going to open the shell to make modifications here. Oh, never mind. We're just going to reboot. We don't need to make any specific changes. It'll give us an option to get all the interfaces set up when it comes up. And one thing we got to check too is I did not think about the number of interfaces because I'm going to need 4 of them. So we might need to go back to the VM and add those in. All right, let's say no VLANs. Let's try this again here. We'll do EM0 for the WAN. Let's try this. I was expecting a menu to come up where I could, we'll shut down the guest here. Let's edit. We'll add these network adapters. I need 4 total. Let's see, go back to our list here. All right, so we got 4 servers, and we probably need a WAN interface too, so we'll do 5. And let's see. We'll do all these as hosts only. Let's take a look at the network here. We'll go to virtual network edit. I'll pull that over here. All right, so we're going to want to add networks here. So let's do that. Start at 10. We're going to want all these to be host only. I don't think these subnets are going to matter. We can tell you what, let's do a list of networks too. And we started VMnet 10. All right, I think this will be good on the network. So first network was the WAN, so that'll lead out to the internet. We can probably provide some access. I've got a lab environment, but I should be able to push that out through the PC here. We'll probably just, I think we'll NAT it. Let's do that. Make that a NATed, let's see. Do bridged. I think that's when we can do bridged. Let me think about this. See if these pick up. All right, cool. So let's define some networks here. I tend to use the 10 dot since it gives me most versatility. WAN will do DHCP. Actually, it's NATed anyway, so it'll be the desktop IP. I guess it could be whatever. Let's do 10 dot 0.0.1 on that. Actually, no, it'll be DHCP. We'll see how that work behaves once we get it set up. Whole point of labbing is to figure it out and learn it. All right, we'll do these as the gateway IPs that we're going to configure on the firewall. One of the benefits of having all of the gateways on the firewall is it lets you have security policies where all the systems are separate. That's one of the things I plan on covering in the class on this topic. So really my goal on these labs is to just go through the process, make sure that I build out the environment like I plan on doing in my class, and then just get it, make sure it works, and then I'll go back and have my notes and be able to film the class on it. All right. I think we got our networks. Let's assign some IPs on these too. I'll just do a .1 for all of these. We'll make them, I guess I should annotate that. We'll make these /24s. So /24 is the CIDR notation, if you don't know, for 255.255.255.0 on the subnet mask. All right. think I'm going to add one more network because I really want a management network as well, and I don't want to put that on any interface that we're going to be securing. So we'll do management on one. Let's add that to it. We'll do a Windows 10 desktop for that as well. So the sole purpose of that system will just be to be able to manage the firewall. We don't want any of the other zones being able to access it, because if a server gets compromised, we don't want that server to be able to actually try to change rules to the firewall to compromise the environment any further. So this is how the best way to design it, which is one of the things that I really want to cover in this in my stuff, because there's a lot of stuff out there on how to do it, but it doesn't actually show you in the context of deploying it in a real environment. A lot of those tutorials or how-tos or whatever, the blogs that they show you how to set it up, but they really do not talk about how to do it in a secure environment, and that's what I'm doing with all my videos. I understand these DMZs, they can literally be any network we want, but I'm just going to go down the line here. Keep it simple. All right, so let's add the management network. I guess we'll give WAN and IP as well. Actually, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Instead of using VLAN 10, we will use 0 and do a bridge, and then it will get an IP from my regular network that this desktop is connected to. I think that'll be the best way to do it. All right, so let's update the networks on these. See if that works. I don't know if it actually needs an IP for DHCP or not. No, I think we're okay. All right, I think we're good on this setup. All right, so on our firewall, we're going to create 6 different zones on it, and these will all be the default gateways for the VMs we're going to build. And then these VMs here are going to only have one VNIC assigned to it, and then we'll make sure that it's on the correct VNIC for that network. All right, so let's pull up the firewall settings again and make sure that's good to go. We got 5, we need 6 interfaces, so let's do that. All right, so the first interface, we're going to do bridged. That'll be our WAN. And then now we got to do the custom. So we're going to do 11 through 15 on these. All right, I think we're in business. All right, let's power it up. And it should automatically identify those interfaces. So we created the networks in VMware Workstation. We've created the pfSense with 6 interfaces. Now we're going to go through and configure it. And we'll also do ACLs here. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so this is important. We got our MAC addresses here, so let's record these. I'm just gonna grab the last part of the MAC address here. And what we'll be able to do is go into VMware and we're gonna make sure that they're assigned the correct networks. All right, so we got those. Now we're gonna see if, oops. Let's go back into VMware here on the network. Or actually, I'll take that back. We're gonna go to the settings here. Yeah. All right, so make sure these are. So let's say network adapter 1 on that one. Make sure these are in order. So AF, that's good. I think these might actually all just be in order, which will be nice. But we got to verify. All right, so that one's good. That one's good. Nice. All in the same order. All right. Actually, one thing we needed to assign was the network that's going to be on these two. Make sure that was the right setting. Yep. All right. Just want to double check all that stuff. So we're not going to use VLANs on this one. So WAN interface, we will use EM0. LAN interface is going to be EM1. Optional, we'll do these right down the list here. Get them all assigned. Hit yes. All right, this thing should reboot, and when it does, then we'll finish. I guess it doesn't reboot. That's good. All right, so we got the LAN set, which we're gonna re-IP that. So let's go back and look at what management we set up, and that's what I'm going to use. So that is going to be. Now let me think about this. Here's what we'll do. We're going to build a Windows 10 VM. We're going to put it on the same network as EM1, and then we'll be able to go in there and use the web GUI and do our configuration through that, and then we can reassign it. So next step. Let's see here. Get my notes in order. All right, let's do that. Host management 01. This is going to be our management VM. Stick to most of the defaults here. I think we're good. Drop that in here. All right, we'll power it on. And let's grab the ISO here. Yeah. And then we will send a control delete. Let's reboot it and click in there, hit the space bar, let it boot. All right, so this is going through and rebooting. All right, let's get it set up. Should be pretty quick. All right, I'll do Enterprise N. So if you haven't seen these before, the N designates that it doesn't have all of the like the consumer-facing software on the OS. It's probably as plain as you're going to get it. The reason I use Enterprise, though, is there's some additional features that we get that I don't know if I'll use them or not on this VM, but just in case. So all of this, all of these images, they're all downloadable on the Microsoft site. They give you, I think, 180 days demo license on it, and there's actually a way that you can reset it and start that over too. So just a matter of Googling that command. All right, so let's get this install going. All right. We'll just go back and review here our notes. So we're getting that VM created. All right. I think we're good. Get that going, and then we'll get our firewall configured. It's getting there. Fortunately, I've got a pretty decent SSD drive in my desktop here, so it runs much faster than if it was a spinning disk. It would take forever. All right, so let's reboot this thing. Save ourselves 9 seconds. All right, so we need to get this thing on the LAN. So let's make sure that we got the correct network assigned on it temporarily here. So we're going to do custom, and I believe it was 11. Let's verify that. Yep, it'd be 11. And I believe DHCP is actually turned on that LAN interface, so we should be able to get an IP. I should have given this thing more procs. I think that's why it's taking forever. All right, so select the US here for me. Say yes. Skip. As soon as we finish this setup, I'm going to shut it down and add some more CPUs. All right, let's get this set up. So I'm going to hit join domain instead, which basically bypasses this. Do manager. I don't need a password. No. All right. Nope, not going to do digital assistant. And I turn all this stuff off. It's amazing the default stuff they have on Windows now. Maybe I'll do a video on how to deploy the most plain version of Windows Desktop there is. Definitely in a corporate environment, you want to do that. We're almost there. All right. So the first thing I do is I always deploy VMware tools. So let's do that. All right, so we'll stick with the typical. All right, do a reboot. All right, one thing I'm going to do is I want to increase these processors, so let's shut it down real quick so we can do that. All right, so we'll edit settings here. We'll go to procs. We'll do 8. We got plenty of CPUs. See if that helps. All right, so let's check our IP address settings here. Type in ipconfig /all. See what we got. That doesn't look right. Let's take a look at the network here. 92168.1. Oh, you know what? That's the LAN interface for the firewall. So I think we're good. I wonder if we can ping out. Yep, we can. All right. So let's do this. We're gonna, and actually, since I can get out to the internet, let me make sure I can ping Google, right? Since IP address is only one part of the equation there. I prefer to run Chrome, so I might as well go ahead and just load it. All right, now uncheck that. We'll download. All right, let's run it. All right, I'm gonna be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so now we're gonna go to the, oops, we'll go to the firewall here. So the default settings for pfSense, it's admin and then pfSense all lowercase to log in. All right, let's just go through this setup real quick. pfSense 01. Domain. We'll do, what's a good domain? We'll do lab. We'll do lab.local. That'll be our domain. Make a note of that. All right. DNS. Yeah, we'll do Google. and that one. So that's good. I'm going to change this to New York since that's my time zone. All right, WAN interface, DHCP is good. Usually I leave these on, but I am going to turn them off because it's going to be an internal address it's getting. So I don't want to block those. All right, so the LAN interface, we're going to rename these, but we're going to all right, so that's going to reload. We'll see if we need to get a new IP address since we changed the network that we're on. All right, let's we're going to release and renew our IP address here. And looks like we got the new network, so that's good. Now we need to go to 10.0.0.254. And we should be back in here. Let's log in. All right, looking good. So let's set up the rest of these interfaces. All right, next interface we're going to do is going to be do the RODC DMZ. We're going to set a static on that. And this network was our 10.0.1 network. Do a /24. Let's do an underscore on that. That should be better. There we go. All right, next interface is our file DMZ. Into the static. This is 10.0.2 network. All right, next one is our desktop DMZ here. All right, this is a 10.0.3 network. And last is our management DMZ here. This is a 10.0.4. And there's /24. All right. Add a couple of spaces here. All right, so a quick way to check the interfaces, you just click on the logo, and then you come down here and you can see what the IP assignments are on each interface. That looks good. One of the things we need to look at is DHCP server. We're going to turn that off for all of these. Actually, you know what? I better hold off on that until I get the. Need to look at the rules here. Wish there was an easier way to move this to a different interface. Let's go back. Maybe it's in the general setup. Let's take a look there. Really just want to swing this config over to a different interface. Maybe it's a setting on the interface. Hmm. Hmm. All right, let's just create a rule here. All right, let's change the network on this thing. We're going to move this to 15. Now we're going to have to we'll have to manually assign an IP address. Let's see if we can get to this thing. All right, guess not. All right, I'm gonna make this a stopping point. I'll pick back up on it later today.